In this presentation, we shall be exploring and evaluating how sport contributes to global development goals. First, it is important to outline the difference between sport for development and sports development. Beacon 2007 explains the contrast between the two topics by describing sports development as developing athletes, developing sports, improving performance, and a general perception of creating athletes for the sole purpose of winning and losing. However, in contrast, sport for development can be broken down and be seen to develop things such as health, education, gender equality, economic development, and a concern for developing the world's most vulnerable people through sport. Kidd 2011 further evidences this by explaining how sport for development is aimed to cover a wide range of objectives ranging from humanitarian recreation, explicit social outcomes such as youth employment, gender inclusion in slums, and education and health. Hayhurst, Chwanski, and Kay 2015 explained that in the last few years there has been a significant shift in focus of the development interventions that go by the name of sport for development and peace. They described that previously sport for development and peace has been described as over-glorified through celebrity appearances organised by the United Nations and Olympic leaders and international conferences. However, the new outlook for sport for development and peace is seen to involve far more on-the-ground interventions, moving away from the spotlight, and hard lessons are learnt from the practitioners. The Millennium Development Goals that were highlighted and explained in the previous video can be highlighted and used to show clearly how sport has an influential impact in global development. Banda, Lindsay, Jeans and Kay 2008 describe how sport was increasingly being recognised for the contribution it can make to the Millennium Development Goals and the response to the HIV and AIDS pandemic. Goal number 6 of the Millennium Development Goals is highlighted to combat HIV, AIDS, malaria and other diseases. The recognition, as described, has been one of the reasons which has caused an influx of non-governmental organisations in Zambia and other parts of the world. These NGOs are responsible for delivering programs which combine sport with education, alongside equipping participants with life skills that all come together to contribute to the broader effects of civil society to address Millennium Development Goals such as HIV and AIDS pandemic. It is also important to identify that there are two distinct types of agencies when it comes to players that support sport for development. These are non-governmental organisations and governmental organisations. One example of a non-governmental organisation which is based in South Africa is a charity called the Africaid Trust. Balfour et al. 2013 conducted research on this non-governmental organisation and explained that the Africaid Trust is a grassroots South African non-profit organisation that engages youth in HIV prevention by harnessing the popularity of football. WizKids United, the organisation's primary programme, operates a 12-week programme in elementary schools in Pietermaritzburg, South Africa, which aims to impart knowledge and life skills critical to HIV prevention. The goal of the research was to compare elementary school children who received the programme to children who receive regular classroom-based HIV education. The results found that the knowledge was increased through children who participated in the WizKids programme. They found that using AIDS intervention programmes using peer coaches within a sports programme were far more effective than a traditional classroom programme. The evidence suggests that sport has the power to engage children like no other resource, and in that moment life-saving knowledge and information can then be captured in the hope those children pass the same information down generations. WizKids United can clearly be identified to tackle one of the MDG's Millennium Development Goals, which is stated as combating HIV and AIDS. Butler 2008 explains how sport can be used as a universal language. Not only that, but it can be used to bridge social, racial, religious, and gender divides within society. Sport and physical education have been recognised for their role in ensuring a quality education, with mandatory physical education recognised in several countries as a universal pillar to foster education, health, and personal development. What specific role does sport play in global development within this bigger picture? Bandit, Lindsay, Jeans and Kay 2008 carried out qualitative research on a variety of organisations ranging from NGOs, national agencies and international agencies supporting non-governmental organisations working to address HIV and AIDS epidemic in Zambia. They uncovered that sport acted as a diversionary tool in which educational resources and professionals could display vital life-saving information. However, Webb 2004 describes how NGOs aren't always perceived to be as simple as working with other NGOs to enhance development for that community/country. This is because the organisations can get caught up in competition for resources such as funding to be in the best place for it. Furthermore, we can look a bit further into detail at this and question the morals and goals of these NGOs, as sport for development may be seen to be overridden by financial benefit with motives like these. Here are some examples of governmental organisations which use sport for development and peace. UK Sport International, Department for International Development, USAID and UKAID. These organisations have more authority, power and generally increased numbers of resources. For example, on the UKAID website it states they are funded by the UK taxpayer, which is a vast amount of sustainable income. Dudfield Secretariat 2014 describe factors which limit sport for development and peace programmes, starting with underdeveloped frameworks, limited resources and disconnect from other development actors. Governmental organisations such as UKAID are in a better position to develop these resources and frameworks described by Dudfield and Secretariat 2014. The role of governmental organisations in a variety of cases is to provide funding for non-governmental organisations which may be struggling to keep up with the demand. For example, USAID provides funding to a programme called Grassroots Soccer, which enables them to carry out soccer programmes across Zimbabwe in the aim to fight against HIV. Throughout the programme, soccer is used as a tool to enable vital learning which can, and in this case has, saved lives. A 2007 evaluation of the programme found that children who went through the programme had significantly reduced incidences of multiple sex partners compared to children who did not participate. Even more evidence that sport has the ability to mobilise development and peace in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. In conclusion, sport is extremely powerful and meaningful in terms of development. Butler 2008 emphasises this by explaining how sport is a powerful instrument for mobilisation and advocacy, as seen when the visit of famous sportspersons to any country in the world generally creates more media coverage than any other political figure or public support. However, it is vital to understand the need for on-the-ground research when constructing these programs, as communities have a variety of issues relating to the Sustainable Development Goals and Millennium Development Goals. Hayhurst, Chwanski and Kay 2015 support this further by describing how sport for development and peace needs to adopt an attitude which doesn't allow a one-size-fits-all approach, as each community requires a different approach depending on the circumstances. Kidd 2011 further explains how sport has always had a direct relation to imperialism and that many programs are imposed from abroad, driven by donors' expectations without consulting with the communities across the world. Furthermore, he explains how in some cases the primary goal is to train first world interns who mentions how this is not the responsibility, never mind the place, to be doing such training. Further research may be needed to delve deeper into the purpose of the programme. However, we have identified a direct relation and positive influence sport can have.